Manchester United fans hoping for a year of redemption as it's the Champions League group stage, match day 1, United taking on Valencia next. Well, it was without a doubt Coach Popovich's toughest task as head coach of Manchester United last year, after the club were knocked out by Sevilla in the first knockout round and weren't all that convincing in the group stages either. Coach Trafford is a lot more prepared now. He's had a year to work with the squad and now he's made it his own. And now Manchester United fans are hopeful that there can be a bigger challenge for the competition this year. They're not expected to win it. This is still the kind of transition period before they can really challenge maybe next season. But Gregg is still struggling against Europe's elite. That's confirmed for the American Challenge Cup. Well, the objective for Manchester United every single season is to at least get into this stage of the Champions League, considering their pedigree. And it has been tough to do for the last few seasons, but Gregg Popovich was able to manage it rather comfortably in a way, even though he did lose the league to Manchester City by 19 points, but he did comfortably get there through the second position, of course. But his record against Europe's elite is still hit or miss. David De Gea will start in goal with Lindelof, Maguire and Bailly as usual. Midfield is the usual suspect as well. Henwood with Pogba, Zaha, Sanchez and Andreas Pereira. While Alex Hunter gets a Champions League start, his first, and alongside Anthony Martial up front as to be expected. Valencia has Neto starting in goal, and Francis Coquelin is actually formerly of Arsenal. He's in the midfield today, while Batshuayi makes the bench. The rest of the team is Gaia with Rondigli, Holista and Hisi. Guerrero is with Cambodia and Vaz, and it's Rodrigo and Gamero up top. So, what can Manchester United do against Europe's elite? That's the big question. So far, it's been a bit hot and miss, as we said last season, knocked out by Sevilla in the first knockout rounds, we should say. Technically, the last 16, you could call it that. Manchester United faced Bayern Munich twice in the American Challenge Cup and lost on both occasions, but did beat Real Madrid by a goal to nil in the semi-final at that competition. In this competition, Manchester United have been dealt a rather favourable group, you could say, with the only real high suspects being, of course, the new Italian superpower in Juventus with Cristiano Ronaldo. But BSC Young Boys probably expected to beat Young Boys on both occasions. Valencia are no slouches, however. If you take... Oh, that's an interesting shot there by Kondala, but he's missed. If you take Real Madrid, Barcelona and maybe even Atletico Madrid out of the picture in La Liga, you'd probably have Valencia there or thereabouts. So they are definitely no slouches in this competition. There are no easy games in the European Champions League, and in even the Europa League for that matter. But it is Europe's elite, so it is going to be interesting to see if Gregg has improved upon last season. And like we said, it's been a bit of a hit or miss, but the squad is more his own now. And he's had a year in the game to pick up everything he can. It's a bit difficult in the European game because you don't play on European games every night. So it gives Gregg a lot less time to pick up the ways of the game and how they work. But considering his English success, you have to say he's done rather well. I think there was a save by David De Gea. As Valencia try to get on the front foot early, you need to do that with Manchester United. I think it's gone through almost everybody, and David De Gea did get to that, and he needed to, because the worst it could have done is hit the post. Great save by De Gea. He's had a pretty hit or miss time under Gregg Popovich, to be honest. It's been no fault of his own, or Popovich's for that matter. It's just the way it goes. Now pursued by Henwood. We have a goal coming in. It's Juve and the Young Boys, and Juve have had to pull level because the Young Boys took an early lead. Sami Khedira has scored for Juventus, and it's 1-1. And credit the Young Boys, that's for sure. It's the powerhouses Juventus. You think it'd be a bit of a cricket score going on down there, but that is not the case today. It's a good shot, good save by De Gea. Valencia really are on top in this first half. Manchester United are barely getting anywhere. Valencia hounding the ball carriers, as it were. It's gone over by his leg. David De Gea outstretched, good save. Seems a bit more on form tonight, David De Gea at the moment. Not giving Manchester United an inch on this football. Maguire's in there. He's kept it out. Another corner for Valencia. They are banging down the door tonight. United just absolutely being hounded defensively. And I think Valencia are doing the right thing, because that's probably Manchester United's weakest position at the moment. Not letting them attack and giving them hounding problems defensively until eventually they break down the door. Another corner. Varta's with it. It's headed in. Oh, it's a save by De Gea. And he seems to have one of those nights, doesn't he? That's a splendid save by De Gea. He's keeping them out. Oh, it's a great save. That's a tremendous save from a good header. And Valencia have another corner. Once again, David De Gea punches that one out. And still Valencia have the ball. This is unprecedented. And they just cannot score. Well, I would dread to look at the possession stats at the end of this half, because it's probably going to read Manchester United barely having any of it. Maguire's a long way out of position. Oh, and he could have lost the ball there. The first half is over, and Manchester United, we can't get a reading on their performance because Valencia have been all over the ball and all over the chances. But for David De Gea, the score is still 0-0. He's kept them all out tonight. But United have been absolutely nowhere. We'll have to look at the possession before the start of the second half. But it'll probably read Manchester United hardly having any of the ball, because Valencia have done what they needed to do. They've pressured United defensively because they know it's the weakest position, and they've not let them attack. But for David De Gea, this could have been all over already. But as it stands, he's kept them out. 0-0. Well, welcome back to the second half here of this opening match day in this season's UEFA Champions League. And it has been all Valencia, because they have had all the chances and all the ball in the first half. United have been nowhere near them. And Valencia, to be honest, have done their job. They need to stop Manchester United attacking, because they are one of the deadliest attacking forces in the Premier League. Hunter plays it through to Alexis Sanchez. He's put it in. Oh, and that is what we were talking about. Alexis Sanchez has given United the lead, and off the kickoff, it seems to be off the kickoff where United are the most strongest, believe it or not. It's quite an odd thing going on at Old Trafford, but that is a beautiful shot from Sanchez. His first Champions League goal of this season, and he's probably been United's best player. Yeah, I think he scored in almost every game so far. That's a wonderful shot from Sanchez. The keeper's getting nowhere near it. And Manchester United, after a first half where they were absolutely battered down by Valencia in the first half, they're the ones that have the goal. It's against the run of play, but that's how Manchester United operate. United 1, Valencia 0, and on course for 3 points, which they could really do with Valencia drawing against the young boys at the moment. They could take the initiative in this group if the scores stay like that for the rest of the night. No doubt. Bid to aid the referees. Sanchez. Oh, he's put it in. Oh, and it's another beautiful goal from Alexis Sanchez. And he is just on it at the moment, isn't he? Alexis Sanchez cannot be stopped. It's amazing, isn't it? Well, now Manchester United are taking the game by the scruff of the neck. And he just gives Sanchez just too much space there. And it is a great goal through everyone again. How does he do it? He finds these gaps through people. And, well, Gregg Popovich, well, it's a great start, isn't it? He wants to be more convincing in the Champions League this season. He may not win it. I don't think anyone's expecting that of him yet. But this is certainly the best possible start. Alexis Sanchez and Manchester United 2, Valencia 0. And now United looking command now. Odunga. Achawai over the top. Oh, he's giving it away. And De Gea is saved again. And David De Gea, he looks unbeatable tonight, doesn't he? Another great save by not the greatest of clearances, to be fair to him. But David De Gea, he's looked incomparable tonight. Some would say it makes a change. De Gea, like we said, has had a bit of a struggling start to the season. That's a great take by De Gea. Fantastic take as we say that. And that is the end of the game. A great second half for United. They soaked up all the pressure in the first half. And Valencia, you probably could guess, ran out of legs and ran out of ideas. And Alexis Sanchez took full advantage, scoring a brace here for Manchester United tonight. We rate the result from the BSC Young Boys Valencia game, Juventus game rather, to see what the other group will look, how the group will look like. But Manchester United will top it regardless because Alexis Sanchez has scored 2 wonder goals. But David De Gea, an absolutely tremendous performance in goal, soaking up all that pressure in the first half, and United made Valencia pay for it. United 2, Valencia 0, and a great start to the Champions League this season for Gregg Popovich. Okay, so let's have a look at all the results from the Champions League first day group match. And in Group A, it's a stalemate. Both games ended in 1-1 draws. The honourable mention going to Club Brugge, holding Atletico Madrid to a 1-1 draw, meaning everything in Group A is all square, literally. In Group B, Spurs take the initiative as Inter Milan and Barcelona held each other to a 1-1 draw. Spurs able to take the initiative by thumping PSG by 3-0. In Group C, well, Panathinaikos have turned out to be the surprise leaders after they scored an absolutely memorable win against French powerhouse Paris Saint-Germain. Panathinaikos 2, Paris Saint-Germain 0. An astounding result. Napoli and Liverpool ending with a 1-1 draw. In Group D, it's Schalke that took the initiative after they beat Porto by 3-1 in the other game. Lucrative Moscow holding Galatasaray to a goal draw, and it's a goal apiece, obviously. In Group E as well, it's no surprise really, Bayern Munich taking the initiative by beating Athens by 2-1, while Benfica and Ajax was a game that featured no goals. In Group F, it's Lyon and TSG Hoffenheim that lead. TSG Hoffenheim with an honourable mention, actually beating Manchester City by 1-0, while Lyon beat Shakhtar Donetsk by 2-1. In Group G, it's Roma who have the lead, amazingly, as Real Madrid will hold to a 1-1 draw against Victoria Plzen, while Moscow lost to Roma by 3-1 in the end. And finally, in Group H, as we know, Manchester United lead the group, and that was after Juventus will hold to a true draw by BSC Young Boys. So no matter how hard Juventus pushed, the BSC Young Boys weren't going to get rolled over, and they ended up drawing with Juventus 2-2, and United lead Group H. Following on from their recent high in the UEFA Champions League after beating Valencia and Matchday 1, Manchester United now back at Old Trafford to take on newly promoted Wolves in the Premier League. And it's been quite some time since these two faced each other. It was probably in the mid to early 2000s would be the last time I remember these two facing each other. It's been so long, I can barely remember even the results. But it's one thing's for sure, so much has changed since then. So many managerial changes as well. Well, Manchester City, the only unbeaten team in the Premier League after Manchester United dropped points against Watford. And it means City are a perfect 15 out of 15 points scored. But Gregg Popovich is keeping pace with Manchester City, and that was always the objective. And he looks to continue that today. David De Gea retains his place in goal. It's been a bit of a shake-up. Fuzi Mensah is back in the side, as is Rojo, Chris Smalling, and Cameron Borthwick-Jackson. Herrera's with Angel Gomez and Scott McTominay. It's a bit of a different look up front though, as Callum Gribbin and Tahith Chong are either side of Marcus Rashford. So the starting lineup looks for Wolves. Patrico is in goal, and Dorothy with I'm not really sure what that name is, with Bolly and Johnny in the defence. De Jong is a new signing with Matinho, and Amada and Jata are either side of Jimenez, but no sign of Ruben Neves, who I believe might have been sold. I really can't remember, but no sign of him today. He has been almost incomparable at the last two games, and he's kept it level here as well. Well, exactly the same score as Valencia, and you have to credit Wolves on that one. 0-0 here. And I think praise goes to the Minnows because I think they're expected to be rather thumped. But they've played well and they deservedly have a 0-0 draw. But we know Manchester United can turn the screw whenever they need to. And Wolves need to be aware of that. 0-0 at the break. Gomez. Rashford. He's kept running. Back to Rashford. Rashford. Oh! And again, it's Marcus Rashford. 1-0 to United. And no surprise. And that is why Marcus Rashford has started this game. United settled. Marcus Rashford turned his defenders inside out. And just a tremendous goal. Wonderfully taken on his left foot. No chance for the keeper. And he's done it again. Gregg Popovich, well, can you really be surprised that he's playing Marcus Rashford as often as he is? This kid just hasn't had a bad day, has he? And he just seems to have found what Jose Mourinho probably couldn't have found when he had him for that 1 year. But of course, he banged them in at that time as well. Louis van Gaal found him, and you have to say that Manchester United, despite the way they unceremoniously sacked Louis van Gaal, which I still believe was hugely unfair, I think they owe Louis van Gaal a debt of gratitude for finding Marcus Rashford and giving him the chance. Oh, David De Gea is at 6s and 7s, and Ander Herrera throws himself in front of that shot. Great defending by United in the end. This is great defending by Ander Herrera. Throws himself, as does Fuzu Mensah, typically, in front of the shot. Corner to Wolves. Too many passes there for Wolves. Gomez. Rashford would be onside. If Gomez could find him, he has done. Rashford staying on his feet somehow. Oh, he's put it over. Oh, he did all the hard work and then couldn't put it in. That's very unfortunate. Great creation there by Rashford, but what a pass from Gomez. He found him on side, and Rashford didn't completely get all of the first touch, but he got there in the end. Persistence paid off, and he could everything but the finish there in that instance. And he came on against Crystal Palace a few seasons ago, and he was incredibly tiny, but he got a bunches of talent. 1-0 win for Manchester United. Another convincing defensive performance, and again David De Gea on song today. Marcus Rashford gets the goal that gives them the 3 points to keep pace with Manchester City as they were dominating last we heard against Cardiff. They were 2-0 up, with Aguero being one of the scorers. But again, Fuzu Mensah and Bulford Jackson were absolutely tremendous. And it does seem that Gregg Popovich's faith in them may really be justified as we suspected. 1-0 to United, and they keep pace with the runaway leader City. All the classified scores look like this. We'll start at Craven Cottage, where newly promoted Fulham took on Watford and won the game by 2-1. And that was the same score for Burnley and Bournemouth also. Manchester City keep their 100% winning start, winning 6 out of 6 now, with a 2-0 win against Cardiff. Crystal Palace and Newcastle, a 1-0 draw. Leicester City beating Huddersfield by 2-1. Southampton turned it completely around. Well, not completely. They obviously conceded the equaliser after going ahead. They went ahead again and won the game by 2-1 against Liverpool, meaning their title challengers dealt a blow there. Manchester United winning 1-0 against Wolves, of course. Spurs win again, and this time it's against Brighton by 2-0. And finally, a final reprieve for Unai Emery as he finally gets another win. And this time it's against Everton by 1-0. And the table looks like this. Manchester United still behind City by 2 points. But City and United now the only two unbeaten sides in the Premier League yet to lose. And City let to drop points, let alone lose. Chelsea in third, level on points with Spurs. Everton in 5th despite their loss at Arsenal today. Liverpool down to 6th with their loss to Southampton. Burnley 7th, Leicester 8th. Bournemouth in 9th despite their recent struggles there. And Newcastle completing the top 10. And next is followed by Southampton, Crystal Palace. Arsenal finally get out of the relegation zone. They're up to 13th on 6 points. West Ham also on the same amount of points in 14th. Wolves 15th. Watford 16th, Brighton 17th. Fulham finally getting some points on the board. Well, proper points with that win, but they're still in the relegation zone on 4 with Cardiff and Huddersfield, who have yet to draw and only have 1 win out of the first 6.